The big story we're following this hour is a hostage crisis that's unfolding in Sydney. Close to 50 people are believed to be held hostage by one or two gunmen inside the cafe in Sydney's Central Business District. Reports also say they are forcing hostages to hold up black and white flags that appear to be ISIS related. The airspace above Sydney has been sealed off and surrounding landmarks, including the Sydney Opera House, have been evacuated. The National Security Committee of the Australian Cabinet has convened for briefings. The Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott issued a statement a short while back about the siege.
Supported by Commonwealth agencies. We don't yet know the motivation of the perpetrator. We don't know whether this is politically motivated, although obviously there are some indications that it could be. The whole point of politically motivated violence is to scare people out of being themselves. Australia is a peaceful, open and generous society. Nothing should ever change that, and that's why I would urge all Australians today to go about their business as usual. This is an unfolding situation, and as the situation unfolds, there will be operational updates provided by the New South Wales Police. Finally, this is a very disturbing incident. I can understand the concerns and anxieties of the Australian people at a time like this, but our thoughts and prayers must above all go out to the individuals who are caught up in this. I can think of almost nothing more distressing, more terrifying than to be caught up in such a situation, and our hearts go out to those people.
Let's get a word from Mr. Sanjay Sudhir, Indian Consul General to Australia. He's with us on the phone line. Thanks so much for speaking to Headlines today, Mr. Sudhir. What more can you tell us about this hostage crisis that's unfolding in Sydney?
Well, as the Prime Minister of Australia just mentioned, it's still an unfolding situation. Details are still being ascertained. But what I can tell you is that all the officials of the Consulate General of India, they are safe. As soon as we were a little certain about details, we closed down our embassy, our consulate here in Sydney, and asked people to go to their homes.
Well, so you're telling us that all Indian officials at the consulate are safe. Your offices have been closed down. You're asking people to go back home. And Mr. Sudhir, what more can you tell us about this particular cafe? How far is it from the Indian consulate, and how frequently do officers or employees of the Indian consulate also visit this area where this crisis is taking place right now?
Well, this place is about 300 to 400 meters from the consulate, and it is sometimes frequented because this is a very, it's the hub of the CBD area of Sydney. So very often we, our colleagues, myself, we do go to this cafe and entertain our interlocutors here, meet our friends here. And this is also very close to the Reserve Bank of Australia and also the US consulate. So it's a very happening, very lively place.
All right, it's a lively place. It's also in the middle of the business district of Sydney. Mr. Sudhir, does the presence of the black flags with the alleged Islamist literature also raise concerns about a possible international terror plot?
Well, I think that is not something for me to comment. I think strategic experts will speak about that. My concern, immediate concern, is the safety of our consulate officials here and the safety of Indians here.
All right, and Mr. Sudhir, is there a significant Indian population which is living around this district, and would we have any clarity on whether there are any Indians holed up inside that cafe? We're being told that there are about 50 people who've been taken hostage.
Well, so far we have no details about the nationalities of people holed up in the cafe. But this is not really a residential area. This is the Central Business District, so it's mainly offices here. Indians, generally speaking, stay in outer suburbs.
All right. All right, Mr. Sanjay Sudhir, thanks so much for speaking to Headlines today. That was the Indian Consul General to Australia, Mr. Sanjay Sudhir, saying that all Indian officials of the consulate are safe. The office has been closed down because it's barely 300 meters away from this cafe where the hostage drama is taking place. And they've been advised to go back to their houses. Let's also get a word from our Deputy Editor Smita Sharma, who's with us on the phone line. Smita, we also heard from Tony Abbott a short while back, the Prime Minister there saying that the New South Wales Police has operational charge of the crisis. They're equipped to take care or handle a crisis of this nature. We're being told that as opposed to earlier where we thought that 13 people have been held hostage, we're now being told that there are about 50 people who are inside that cafe.
So, Simi, that's the number that has been given apparently by the Lind Cafe's CEO. But clearly, these are still unconfirmed reports as far as a specific number to be put as far as those people who are locked up inside the cafe are concerned. We don't even know for sure if it's just a single gunman or there are two gunmen. Initial pictures have emerged, in fact, allegedly of one of the gunmen inside the cafe. Also, New South Wales Police is expected to do a press briefing very shortly. They had earlier put out the press statement saying that, all the people in the adjoining areas, including Martin or Macquarie Street, they should, of course, leave that area, stay indoors, not be close to a window which is open. Martin train station, in fact, had been shut down as well. And it's not just the Indian embassy, because there are a lot of these consulate generals that are close to this area, this being the financial hub of Sydney, really. So even the US consulate has now been evacuated. It is shut down. And they have also issued, of course, that warning statement for their citizens, asking them to stay away and, of course, exercise restraint as well at the hour.
Absolutely, Smita. And the presence of those black flags with alleged Islamist texts also ringing alarm bells.
Well, yes, there is that Arabic writing, of course. It's a black flag with a white Arabic writing, and roughly translated, it essentially says, that there is just one God, and essentially that there is no God, but God and Muhammad is the messenger of the God. However, this flag is not really linked to the Islamic State as was being reported earlier. Right. It's a slightly different flag. It's also used by some groups, including the Jihadist al-Nasra, but we don't know, because remember, Tony Abbott still hasn't called it a terror attack. He suggested that this might also be politically motivated, and even the New South Wales Police, in fact, has so far not gone to, they are treating it as a crime operation, and they have said that they will be scaling up the operation once it's confirmed that it is a terror attack. So everybody exercising restraint out there as far as dealing with this ongoing hostage crisis is concerned.
All right, Smita, stay on with us. Our Deputy Editor putting developments in perspective for us, saying that the Prime Minister has still not termed it as a terror attack. He's called it politically motivated. The police is currently treating this as a hostage and a crime situation. Reactions coming in from the ground, locals telling us exactly what they saw there, also saying that they thought it was extremely suspicious because the cafe is almost never shut. We're also getting pictures of a person who may be armed at this stage. It's not exactly clear whether he's carrying a gun. Hostages have been forced to stand facing the window with their arms pressed against the window panes. We spoke to the editor of IndianHerald.com, Rohit Revo, a short while back. Here's what he had to say.
Look, it started at around 9 o'clock when people were about to go into the office, and there were reports of some hostage situation developing, but nobody knew at that stage that it's going to be perhaps a terror-related incident with the Arabic flag or the Islamic flag being displayed by two people inside there. This is the financial hub of Sydney, the financial district, the epicenter, that's just like a Nariman Point in Mumbai. And most of the people work in this area. Almost all the buildings there have been evacuated. Nobody is allowed to go into this place, Martin Place. And I believe people who are there are still there, but have been asked to leave the offices. The trains have been shut down in that area, and the buses have also stopped.
All right, so most of the offices in the surrounding area have been shut down. This is central. This is the centre of the business district of Sydney, a busy cafe. The hostage crisis started at about 9 a.m. Australia time. It's been about 3 to 4 hours and the hostage crisis is still continuing. Our Deputy Editor Smita Sharma is with us on the phone line. Smita, you very correctly pointed out that The government is still not seeing this as a terror attack. They're treating this as a crime. People also saying that it could. They were initially told by the police that it could be an armed robbery. It's now developed into a hostage crisis where close to 50 people are being held. The presence of the black flags there raising quite a few concerns.
Absolutely, Simi, but we do not really know, because this is a very common sort of a black flag which is used by several Islamic groups. So as I was mentioning, that this could also be used by groups like Jabhatul Nasra. It's not a flag which is linked directly really to the Islamic State. Now, we don't know if at all this is a terror group that we are looking at here, whether it's homegrown, whether it's a splinter faction, or whether there is an international terror connection to it at all, or is this a lone wolf connection? Is this some sort of a freak radical case, where we have seen these kind of cases happen in the US as well, if you remember, where very radical, in fact, Catholics have taken the gun, have taken hostages in the past. So is this a similar kind of a situation that we are looking at? Meanwhile, also reports are suggesting that some initial detentions have been made. Some 3 people have been cornered up on Parramatta Street. Remember, that's a street again which has a lot of foreign population and overseas population and foreign nationals staying in there. And as Sanjay Sudhir, our Consul General of India, was pointing out, that this being the district which is the financial hub really, where you have all the banks, the consulates, the shopping areas. So a lot of these foreign nationalities tend to visit this place. So we're not even clear if as to what is the real number of people who have been taken as hostages and what their nationalities could be at this point in time.
Absolutely. Details are still trickling in. We don't exactly know how many people are holed up, but reports suggesting that there could be about 50 people holed up inside that cafe, being held hostage by 1 or 2 people who are armed. This is a rapidly developing situation. Smita, stay on with us.